Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the House of Ways and Means. Alright, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about active versus passive management means. Can you share a little bit more?
I don't know if you got a chance to check out our previous couple of videos on mutual funds and ETFs. If you haven't, then you definitely want to take a look at those. First of all, I want to talk about what is an index. So an index is a subsample of an entire universe of stocks. So in the United States alone, there are several thousand stocks that are listed on an exchange, and when you look globally, it's a very high number. Even beyond the U.S. itself. So it's impossible to buy every single security. It would be ridiculous, impossible to manage. So what happens is, if you have a certain view of the market and you want to get the sentiment of the market in one of many different ways, what you would do is you take a sampling of that population, and there's a few different ways to come up with that sample, and that's out of the scope of this video. But the idea is you want to get a group of stocks that will behave the way you expect the whole to. So some really popular indexes are of course like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, S&P 500. So those are well-known indexes that a lot of managers and mutual fund managers, or any kind of manager. I mean, even if you have no particular product that you're running, you're just managing clients' money. A lot of times they'll use an index as your benchmark. So your benchmark is basically what you're trying to either meet or beat. Now, the people who are in the camp of trying to beat the index, they're considered to be active managers. So the active managers are in the camp of those trying to outperform the index that they're benchmarked to. So that would be trying to find some secret sauce through your analysis of the markets that can get you better performance than what the broad market would get. And then those who are just trying to meet what the broad market is doing, those are considered the passive managers. They're not trying to do anything clever, special. They don't want to outperform. They want to do everything they can to make sure that their performance looks substantially similar to the broader market and whatever the index of their benchmark. Now, you may ask, why would anybody be satisfied with just meeting the average? Well, that's a good question. Now, the reason why you do that is, as a retail investor, the reason you may want to seek out managers, mutual fund managers, ETF managers, and their products, if all they're trying to do is passively follow an index, is because history shows that it's very difficult to beat the indexes and the benchmarks of a broad market over time. You may beat it, in the next couple years, you may beat it even 5 years in a row, but say 10, 15, 20 years, it's very difficult. I don't want to say it's impossible, but very difficult, and very few people are actually able to achieve performance that outperforms what the broad market is doing. So I just want to throw up this graphic here and just look in the little box, the red box, and what that's showing is, over the long term, most managers are going to underperform their index because it's just that difficult to have sustained success, i.e. sustained outperformance versus an index of stocks. So, you may ask, well, then in that case, why do people, pursue active managers? Because active management is expensive, first of all. If you're looking at mutual funds, you're looking at ETFs, the active products, they're fewer in number in the ETF world, but they're growing. They're primarily in the mutual fund realm and other kinds of investment management, such as hedge funds for high net worth investors. But you know, a lot of these companies have a well-known manager. So either a famous manager or somebody who has a reputation of being very good at their job and being very good at coming up with ways to outperform their benchmark. And along with those managers, there comes a team of analysts. And a lot of times the managers themselves are former analysts. So, you know, these people are known to have a very good sense of the market, something that most people don't have, a gift even. But that comes with a cost. You're not going to get a rock star, investment manager for cheap. You know, you're going to have to pay for it. It's going to come in the form of a higher expense ratio, a higher fund management fee, all kind of small print you may see when you look to invest in a mutual fund. So along with that higher price comes, well, you have to ask yourself the question, is this price high enough to justify the performance that I will get or the performance that I have gotten in the past? And looking at the history of how difficult it is, a lot of times people can't justify spending that extra amount to have that active management. But certain situations where you could find a use for active management is certainly when the market crashes. Consider a time when a market crash is ongoing. Perhaps you remember the credit crash of 2007, 8, 9, and on in that time period. If you are just tracking an index, the index it's not going to change its mind. It kind of rebalances. It brings in new securities. It changes its weightings only at certain set fixed periods, either quarterly, some even annually. So whatever you're invested in, the index itself is not going to just change course drastically. That's not the way it works. Now, it's different from an active manager who is sitting behind the wheel watching every day. He may say, hey, we're going to curtail the losses that we're taking by making this major reversal in what we're doing. And it could be a temporary, it could be long term. But the idea is that having a competent person at the wheel of the ship or at the helm is going to give you an advantage in times when the market is either going up like crazy or going down like crazy. So that's why you might want to pay a little extra for that management. Now, for me, if I'm advising a novice investor or someone who doesn't have a lot of investing experience, I would say go with the passive management product. You're gonna save some money on the management fee, and like we showed before, over the long haul, typically it's going to be difficult for anybody you were to spend more money on to actually give you any outperformance. You're going to get something that's the same or better performance-wise, and you're going to pay less out of pocket.
Well, that was a mouthful. Well, I'm glad you shared this information with us. I think it's really important. Maybe in a future video we can discuss the type of person that would preference an active management versus the person who would do the passive, and why that is. I think that can kind of join or mesh our various specialties. But for the most part, we just thank you guys for watching. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we hope to see you again.
Whew, that was a mouthful. I'm tired. I'm like breathing heavy over here. I kind of like blacked out for a second. I'm ready to go to sleep. All right, good game. Let's go eat.